Hi Stampers, welcome. It's Terry Hartley at Rustic Barn Cards. I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to make two cards. They're both Halloween cards and they're going to be using the stamp set Have a Hoot. And this also comes with dies. So let me show you the card we're going to make. This is the first card that we're going to make. The second one's a little bit different. And I will show you the materials that we need. And if you go to rusticbarncards.com, you'll find the dimensions and the directions on how to make this also. So I'm going to lay that aside and bring in what we need. So we'll need a card base. I'm using black for my card base, cut at 8.5 by 5.5. And it is scored at 4 1/4. And whisper white for the inside of the card. And it is cut at 5 1/4 by 4, which will go inside. And then a layer of gray granite, cut at the same, 5 1/4 by 4. I'm going to emboss this and lay it on the layer on the outside of the card. And then designer series paper. This is 3 by 4, and this comes from the Plaid Tidings pack. And this is in our mini catalog. And right now, this Plaid Tidings is on sale. You can save 15% through October 31st, 2020, along with 14 other designer series papers. So there's several. Again, there's a total of 15. You can go to my website and look at all the designer series paper that's on sale, and it has the page number, and you can look in the annual and the mini catalog to get a better and clearer picture of what they look like. If you do not have the annual catalog or the mini catalog, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Just reach out to me and I would be glad to send, no charge, I'd send a catalog to you. And you can contact me at www.rusticbarncards.com. And then we also need, I use the circle punch. I'm not sure the dimensions, but again, they'll be down below in the description and also on my website, so you can look at that. If this is your first time here, please subscribe. And if you hit the little bell, you will be notified when I upload videos. And I usually upload videos on Monday, quick tip, and then on Thursday, making a card. So let's get started. So I want to do my stamping first. So I'm going to bring in Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm going to start with a designer series paper. And I am going to add spiderweb. I'm going to stamp that onto the designer series paper. And I am using the stamp spiderweb from Banner Year. So I'm just going to ink that up and again, just kind of place a few of these on the designer series paper. Maybe we'll put one right. Okay, I'll lay that aside. Then I'm going to bring in our stamp with our image. And of course, our Whisper White circle, we're not going to have all of the image on here. So we're just going to make sure that we have the owl and the spider. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the stamp. And press down and straight up. So I don't like this image because we are not going to die cut this out. We're actually going to, on this card, leave it like it is. But I can just turn that over and we can stamp again. All right. So I am going to make sure that I press evenly. And I'm happy with that. Good thing there's two sides to paper, right? Okay, so I'm finished with my image, but I need to bring in the layer for the outside of the card, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment down here at the bottom. And I'm going to use Have a Hoot on Halloween. But I did not go ahead and mount this yet because I wanted to kind of give you a tip. So if you have grid paper, you can kind of line that up. If I turn it the right way, maybe. There we go. You can line that up using the lines, and then you can take your block, and then you can go straight down on your sentiment, and then you have it on there straight. And you want to always try to put your stamp in the middle. Okay, let's go ahead and ink that up. And I'm going to put this in the lower left corner. All right, and then I'm going to bring in Winter Snow embossing folder. And I'm going to put my cardstock in here and go ahead and run it through. And I've already done that. And this is what I have. Have a Hoot on Halloween. And so now I am finished with the ink. And then I'm going to color our little owl. So the blends I'm going to use are 5 blends light petal pink, and you have a bullet on one side and a brush on the other. I'm going to go ahead and use the brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and color the eyes. See if I can bring that closer. Okay, and I'm going to bring in light crumb cake. And color our owl. And then I'm going to, since it's alcohol based, I'm going to let that sit a little bit. And while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the soft suede and color the branches. Then I'm going to bring in dark crumb cake. And I'm going to kind of go over some of those lines that are on the owl. Kind of just trace over those. And then I'm going to kind of shade in. And I'm going to go ahead and use the dark for the feet. And then on that spider, I'll go ahead and I'm going to use the bullet side because he's so small. I will probably, I'm going to go ahead and fill that in, but I will put a black gem embellishment on the spider. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I'm going to go back with the light. On the owl. And then I think I'll use Cajun Craze for his little nose. And I'm going to use the bullet. It's so small. I'm just going to kind of just put a little dot there. All right. So I'm going to bring in my craft sheet and we'll go ahead and attach him to our circle. The silicone craft sheet is really nice because glue does not stick on there. Bring in my Stampin' Seal Plus. All right, lay him aside. Now I'm going to layer the inside of the card. And I'm going to use green glue. I could use my Stampin' Seal Plus. That would work fine also. The reason I like the green glue, as I call it, is because you have a little bit of leeway where you can move things, and sometimes that's nice to have. Okay, and now I'm going to add our DSP. There we go. By the time I think I'm getting the hang of it, then I have a hiccup with it. All right, so we're going to put this not exactly in the middle. It'll be up a little bit higher because I want to have room to put the owl over here. And then we're going to add ribbon. Now, on my card I showed you, I didn't realize, I forgot, that this textured ribbon we no longer sell. So I'm going to use the metallic mesh ribbon that is in our mini catalog. So I'm going to lay, so it goes over on each side. Snip that. And then I will adhere this on the back. Put a little glue down, turn it back over to make sure I have it where I want it. This is this ribbon that I'm using, the metallic mesh ribbon. I've used it on some Christmas cards too. So it's really versatile. You can use it Halloween. Be nice on a wedding card, Christmas card. Okay, now I'm ready to add this to our card base. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to bring in our little owl. We're going to turn him over and add some dimensionals. So this is kind of a quick, easy card to make. If you like it, please let me know in the comments. And our next card's a little different, so stay with me. And we're making 2 cards today. And I'm going to add this. Right here. Okay, one last thing. I'm going to take some of this metallic ribbon and I'm going to tuck it underneath. Use my take your pick tool to kind of push that under there. Then I'm going to wrap it around, make a bow, give it a haircut. And here's our card. Have a hoot on Halloween. So this is the card that we started with, and this is the one that we made. You ready for one more? Okay, for our next card, the card base, I am using Night of Navy. And again, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.5. And we'll lay that aside. We'll have our inside layer, Whisper White. And then I'm using a layer of Melon Mambo. And it is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm using the embossing folder with the spiderweb. Trying to think of the name, and it is Cobwebs. Makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, and I have already stamped and run the Melon Mambo through the embossing folder to save some time. So I'm going to leave it over here for right now. And then I took DSP from the Plaid Tidings, and I'm using 3 by 4. And then I also cut Night of Navy, just a little bit larger so I could leave a little edge around. And I took this die from the Stitched So Sweetly dies. So I used the smallest one. And I put these together and cut them at the same time. So I laid it like this and ran it through my cut and emboss machine. So I have like a little window. Okay. And then I stamped my image. And then this is going to fit right over the little owl. And I stamped the owl in Memento Black. And then I used scrap paper and went ahead and stamped another one. And we're going to color and then die cut him out and then add him to our card. And this time I used gray granite instead of crumb cake to color the little owl. I think gray or the crumb cake, either one of those. And again, just kind of like I did before. So I already have that done, and I have the owl cut out along with the spider, which you have to be careful because he is tiny, tiny. You don't want to lose him. Okay, so let's put our card together. I'm I decided to use the Sentiment Boo. From the Have a Hoot. So I stamped and I embossed using, I stamped it in Versamark, and then I used white embossing powder. And then I used this little die cut again, and it is from the Stitch So Sweetly dies. And that worked perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and put our card together. So lay this aside. Now we could stamp inside on our card for the inside layer. We could do some stamping if we wanted to. Looking for my adhesive. All right. And now I'm going to go ahead, but before I add this top layer, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to bring in some white craft ink and a sponge dauber, which fits right over my finger. And I'm going to add some white to kind of highlight one of the spider webs. Now, when you do this, you do not want to go directly on your paper as soon as you ink up your dauber, because then it will leave a glob. So you want to start here and go onto your paper. So ink it up and start here, and then otherwise it'll make a mark. Can you see it's just starting? So it needs several layers. Just going to do the spider web right up here to kind of make it look like that's where the spider came from. And I'm going to start over here because I want this little spider web right here to have the most white. I mean, I put some over here, but I want to highlight this the most, I think. And you just put however much until you get it where you think it looks good. Okay? So I just kind of want to highlight that. So lay that aside. And now we're going to go ahead and, before we add this layer to here, I am going to go ahead and place our layers on. So I want to make sure that I have the spider showing. So I'm going to put those on separately. And I am going to use this liquid green glue because in case I need to move it a little bit, it'll give me a little bit of time. So I want to make sure that spider is showing. And you can see how we have the spider web is kind of highlighted there. And then this needs to fit right in this little window. But I want to make sure that I have a border of the Night of Navy showing around the window. And we could have stamped some spider webs onto the designer series paper like we did the other one, but I didn't think we needed it with using the spider web embossing folder. Okay, so now I'm going to add our layer on the outside. And then we're going to bring in some dimensionals and pop up our little owl. These little owls are so cute. I would appreciate if you let me know which of these two cards that you like. I'll show you both of them at the end. Again, the other one. So we're going to pop up this little owl right here. And now I want to see if I can add on the spider. I'm going to turn him over. And I don't know if the mini is going to, yes, the mini is going to be just perfect. And we'll add a little spider. And I could have used a blend and colored in, but I am going to use a little dimensional, which I'm going to. These are some that I already had, some black embellishments. There we go. And now we're going to put dimensionals on our sentiment. And I'll put, I think I can get 3 on there. Move that over. All right, so we'll take the caps off. So I use kind of some bright, the Melon Mambo is kind of bright, but I like to use some different colors sometimes. And I think I'm going to put the sentiment right down here on the right hand side. And here is our little card. And again, we have got to highlight that little spider web. And boo. And you could put a sentiment inside. So the 2 cards that we made today. Here are the 2 cards that we made. If you place an order this month, don't forget, if you place an order up to $149.99 to use the host code. That helps me be able to give you a gift. If it is $150 or more, then Stampin' Up will provide a reward for you. So here are 2 cards. Have a Hoot on Halloween and the one we made, Boo. And then this is the one I showed you at the beginning. And so I did go ahead and just color this spider in, but I could add an embellishment. And then on this card, I did add an embellishment as I did on the one that, our second card. So here's our 2 fun, quick and easy cards using the stamp set, Have a Hoot. So let me know what you think. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Be safe. Have a great day.